Everyone says the same thing. Don't pick them up too much. Let them get used to being alone. You'll spoil them. But here's the part almost no one tells you. Some of the behaviors your baby shows in this first year. The clinginess, the reflexes, the constant need for you. They're not bad habits. They're temporary biological phases that will disappear forever. And once they're gone, you don't get them back. So the real question isn't, are you doing too much? It's, what might you be missing while you're trying to do it right? And there's one belief most parents hear early on that may quietly interfere with these moments more than anything else. The advice that sounds right, but feels off. You're holding your newborn. They're calm, warm, settled against your chest. Then someone says, you should put them down now. They need to learn. And suddenly, something shifts. Because part of you wonders, learn what? To be alone. Before they even understand what alone means. This is where one of the biggest parenting myths begins. The idea that independence should start early. But early brain development studies suggest something very different. Babies don't start by becoming independent. They start by becoming deeply connected. And many of the things they do in this phase are not habits to fix. They are developmental windows that quietly close on their own. Let's look at 5 of them. 1. The reflex that reaches for you. In the early weeks, something almost magical happens. You place your baby down, and suddenly their arms fling outward. Their fingers stretch. Their body startles like they're falling. This is known as the Mora reflex. But what it really is your baby's built-in alarm system. A signal that says, I need closeness. I need safety. And here's what matters. This reflex disappears, usually within a few months, which means this intense, instinctive reaching for connection is temporary. A mother once noticed her baby would jolt awake the moment she stepped away. At first, she thought something was wrong. Later, she realized nothing was wrong. Her baby wasn't overreacting. Her baby was wired to expect her. And one day, that reflex faded. Quietly. Without announcement. 2. The need to be held. Almost constantly. There's a phase where putting your baby down feels almost impossible. You try. They cry. You pick them up. They settle instantly. It's not manipulation. It's regulation. Attachment research suggests that in early life, babies borrow your nervous system to stabilize their own. Your heartbeat. Your warmth, even your breathing rhythm. These are not comforts. They're biological inputs. But here's what often gets misunderstood. This phase doesn't last forever. In fact, it fades faster than most parents expect. That baby who needs to be held constantly becomes the child who runs away from you at the park. And then one day, you'll miss being needed that much. 3. The way they look at you. Like you're everything. There's a moment. It's quiet. You're not doing anything special. And your baby just stares at you. Not casually, not distracted, but deeply, as if you are their entire world. Because, neurologically, you are. In these early months, your face becomes their primary source of emotional learning. Your expressions teach them what safety looks like, what calm feels like, what connection means. But this intense, uninterrupted gaze, it fades as their world expands, as stimuli increase, as independence begins to form. That pure, undivided attention shifts. A father once described it like this. It felt like I was being seen in a way no one had ever seen me before. And then, gradually, that look changed. Not worse, just different. 4. Crying that stops the moment you respond. There's a common belief. If you respond too quickly, they'll get used to it. But here's what developmental psychology often observes. In the earliest stage, quick response doesn't create dependency. It creates security. When a baby cries and you respond, their nervous system learns. I'm not alone. I can signal, and someone comes. And over time, this reduces stress, not increases it. But here's the part many don't realize. This sensitivity window also shifts. Babies don't always cry the same way forever. Their communication evolves. Their signals become more complex. And that early, raw, immediate cry response loop, it softens, changes, transforms into something less obvious. 5. The deep sleep that needs your presence. You finally get them to sleep. You gently place them down. And within minutes, they wake. Again, it's exhausting, confusing. But here's what's happening beneath the surface. In the early months, babies are biologically wired for proximity during sleep. Their systems are still developing regulation, breathing, temperature, even heart rhythms. all more stable when close to a caregiver. That's why your presence matters more than routines at this stage. But this too evolves. Sleep patterns mature. Independence increases. And one day, they won't need you there in the same way. The shift most parents don't notice. Here's the truth that rarely gets said clearly. None of these behaviors are permanent. Not the reflexes. Not the constant need. Not the intense gaze. Not even the way they depend on you to settle. They are phases, designed by biology, and designed to pass. But the myth of teaching independence early often pushes parents to resist these phases instead of moving through them. A different way to see it is actually development in motion. What looks like dependency is actually the foundation of future independence. One day, your baby won't reach for you in that same instinctive way. They won't stare at you like you're their entire universe. They won't need to be held to feel regulated. And you won't even remember the exact moment it changed. It just will, quietly. And that's not something to fear. It's something to understand. While it's still happening, these moments aren't meant to last forever, but they are meant to matter while they're here. Which of these did you notice with your baby? And did it change how you see it now? If you want to understand your baby, not just care for them, subscribe for more science-backed, emotionally real insights. If this shifted your perspective, watch our next video on what your baby's crying is actually trying to tell you. You might hear it differently after this.